He's a Me Too victim there. That's absurd.
And everyone knows blondes are nicer anyway.
Blake Lively publicly erupts after her fellow celebrities expose the brutal truth about her past.
Blake Lively is not a good person, that she has proven herself not to be a kind person, okay?
From fiery on-set drama to accusations that could tarnish her golden image, her facade of perfection is crumbling fast.
Blake Lively Justin Baldoni cases likely won't settle before trial, and this is according to Justin's lawyer.
And to be honest, she's not ready for all this chaos.
All hell broke loose. She claims he sexual harassed her, and then by the time they premiered the movie, they weren't even speaking to each other. She made him stay in the basement, and Ryan Reynolds turned on him too. And then she claimed that he unleashed a bad PR campaign against her.
Blake Lively has long been a name synonymous with elegance, charm, and effortless style. From her breakout role in Gossip Girl to her celebrated appearances on red carpets worldwide, she has crafted an image as Hollywood's golden girl.
He's a Me Too victim there. That's absurd. She seems like kind of a jerk. Wow, she's like kind of a bully. She's rather mean. This guy who had, comparatively very little power was forced now to come out and tell the truth about Blake Lively.
Hollywood power couple Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds and actor and director Justin Baldoni. The plot of this lawsuit is actually more interesting, I believe, than the film that they made.
In the world of Hollywood, where public image is everything, Blake has excelled in presenting herself as approachable, yet aspirational. Her work in fashion has made her a staple on best-dressed lists, and her perceived down-to-earth nature has earned her a loyal following. Fans have admired her for her apparent kindness and creativity, often hailing her as a trailblazer.
Blake Lively is not a good person, that she has proven herself not to be a kind person, okay? And that's largely due to the fact that she is a modern feminist, and so she has to create struggle where there just isn't any, okay?
However, recent allegations paint a far less flattering picture, one that contrasts sharply with the persona she's worked so hard to maintain.
I think Blake Lively loves to do is tell on herself. So in a newly resurfaced interview from 2009 in Glamour magazine, Blake Lively opened up about how she tried to poison the cast of Gossip Girl against Penn Badgley.
Stories have surfaced accusing Blake of manipulative behavior on set, particularly during her Gossip Girl days. Insiders claim that her relationships with co-stars were not always as harmonious as they appeared on screen.
Come on, it was a joke. Lord have mercy.
That was a lot of information about cages, and I'm sorry, I was still thrown off by that stuff.
But the controversy doesn't stop there. Blake's ventures outside of acting have also come under scrutiny, with several small creators alleging that she exploited their ideas without giving proper credit.
Makes more sense when you're watching a show that there's not an obvious choice between good and evil. So she would seem like the obvious choice, but she's also got, flaws as well. But I think I'm just brunette because of the books.
And everyone knows blondes are nicer anyway.
These revelations are beginning to unravel the pristine image she has carefully cultivated, leaving fans shocked and the public divided.
She has a track record of being difficult to work with, from Armie Hammer, who got fired from Gossip Girl because he said during a dinner that she was a bitch.
Candace Owens recounts a story from her own experience as an intern at Glamour magazine. Back then, an editor reportedly told her that Blake Lively was the rudest person they had ever worked with. This anecdote directly clashes with Lively's public persona and raises questions about how much of her image is real and how much is a product of savvy PR.
I mean, it makes me feel incredibly fancy, and it also makes me feel very sad that this is not mine to keep, so put in a good word for me.
One of the most jarring accusations revolves around claims of creative theft. Several small designers and artists have stepped forward, accusing Blake of reaching out to them under fake names to inquire about their work, only to ghost them after receiving the information she needed. What's worse, these creators allege that elements of their designs later appeared in Blake's public wardrobe or personal projects without any acknowledgement or compensation.
That was a lot of information about cages, and I'm sorry, I was still thrown off by that stuff.
She was like, wow.
Who else didn't want to act in a cage?
These accusations have sparked a growing backlash against Blake because she forget all boundaries when humiliating co-stars. Many artists and small business owners have expressed their frustration, saying that individuals with her level of influence should be lifting up emerging talent, not taking advantage of it.
And sometimes I had directors or producers or writers who would welcome that and invite that once they saw that I was able to offer that. And sometimes I would have people who really resented that because they were like, we just hired you to be an actor.
This backlash is also beginning to impact her public image. Once a symbol of empowerment, she now faces mounting criticism, with some accusing her of prioritizing her brand over ethical practices.
There was an article recently saying that Leighton and I were frenemies, and it's
frenemies. Is that they're frenemies?
Yeah, we're friends, but we're also enemies. And it's they see our characters on the show, and they want that to be true in a sense. I think they want everybody's characters in real life to emulate that. And it's really strange because they always want to pit women against each other. You don't hear about like Penn and Chase hating each other and being jealous and competitive.
Perhaps most damaging is the way these allegations contrast with the persona Blake has spent years cultivating. These stories are deeply troubling for someone who has been positioned as a role model, particularly for young women. The gap between her public image and these behind-the-scenes revelations has left many questioning how much of her perfect reputation is genuine and how much is a carefully constructed facade.
Quote there really shows that she's the center of attention. She takes this opportunity that he has to train himself and prepare for a scene as somehow relating to her weight.
This unraveling is significant not only because it tarnishes her image, but also because it highlights a larger issue in Hollywood: the exploitation of smaller, less powerful voices. In a time when people are increasingly demanding accountability from public figures, Blake's alleged actions are a stark reminder of the inequalities that persist even in industries that claim to celebrate creativity and collaboration.
I want all the roles for me and only me. I want full control because I am a controlling bully.
As more and more voices come forward, it's becoming clear that the cracks in Blake Lively's carefully crafted persona aren't just rumors. They're fault lines threatening to undo years of hard-earned goodwill. And while her fans might still cling to the image of Blake as America's sweetheart, these revelations suggest that her past is far from as flawless as it seems.
I've met Blake a few times through Ryan on that film.
Got it.
And thought she seemed nice, and little did I know.
Yeah. We got the body language experts analyzing this right now. How quickly do you...
Don't touch me.
This is just the beginning of what's turning into a public reckoning, and the consequences for Blake's career and legacy remain to be seen. Will she address these allegations head-on and take responsibility, or will she double down on the image she's worked so hard to protect? One thing is certain: the days of her squeaky clean reputation may be numbered.
So it's very silly, but we all do get along very well, and it's upsetting that they have to do that to try to sell magazines. There's enough gossip on the show, just watch that.
Gossip Girl, the iconic show that gave us a front row seat to the glitzy and drama-filled lives of Manhattan's elite. But let's be honest, the real drama wasn't just on screen, it was happening behind the scenes too. Blake Lively, who played Serena van der Woodsen, seemed every bit the golden girl on camera. But according to some reports, her reign as Queen Bee might have extended off-screen as well. And not in the fun, let's sip martinis and scheme kind of way.
Well, I think that our show takes place in a heightened reality a little bit. I think that a lot of the realism is lost in the sparkle, and it's meant to. You need that. You need that for the entertainment and the grit.
Let's start with Penn Badgley, Blake's co-star and real-life ex-boyfriend. Now, Penn is known for being low-key and reserved, a man who would probably prefer reading Kafka in a coffee shop over attending an industry party. While he hasn't spilled the tea outright, he's far too classy for that. Some of his past interviews have given us just enough to raise an eyebrow.
The thing is, I think it will always be negative in the end, but it starts out as a lot of times an innocent thing. People love to talk about other people. It's just natural. That's why they love to watch television.
He's made cryptic comments about the challenges of working with certain personalities, and well, people have connected the dots. Let's just say that when Penn talks about navigating turbulent waters, he probably isn't referring to the East River.
Well, I met Blake. I worked with her husband Ryan several years ago, so I've met Blake a few times through Ryan on that film.
Got it.
And thought she seemed nice, and little did I know.
Then there's the alleged rivalry between Blake and Leighton Meester, who played Blair Waldorf. On screen, their love-hate relationship gave the show its spark, but behind the scenes, rumor has it the tension wasn't all scripted.
We got the body language experts analyzing this right now. How quickly do you...
Don't touch me.
While Leighton was reportedly all about the work, showing up, nailing her scenes, and keeping it professional, Blake was allegedly more interested in leveraging the show as a stepping stone to Hollywood stardom. This difference in priorities is said to have created a palpable divide. Some crew members have whispered about icy stares and passive-aggressive comments that would make even Blair Waldorf blush.
On a set, I knew that they just wanted me to show up and look cute and stand on a little pink sticker where I'm supposed to go and say what I'm supposed to say, but I also knew that that wasn't fulfilling for me, that I wanted to be a part of the storytelling, that I wanted to be a part of the narrative, whether that be in the writing, in the costume design, in creating the character.
And let's not forget the reports of on-set dominance. Insiders claim Blake had a knack for steering things her way, whether it was nudging for better lighting, tweaking wardrobe choices, or ensuring her character always had the upper hand in storylines. While that might sound like ambition to some, others saw it as a little too much. It's like she took Serena's queen bee energy and dialed it up to 11.
I really don't like this woman. I am so angered by her ability to think she can just take control and she knows better. Because of Justin's cut and a lot of stuff that happened, she realized they had a hit on their hands.
The show's dynamic, both on screen and off, was undeniably shaped by these alleged power plays. While the cast put on a united front for press tours and interviews, insiders say the behind-the-scenes vibe was often more awkward than a Dan Humphrey poetry reading. Fast forward a few years, and Blake is now taking on the big screen with It Ends With Us, a movie adaptation of Colleen Hoover's wildly popular novel. But if you thought the drama was confined to the plot of the book, think again. According to whispers from the set, things got a little too spicy behind the camera, and not in the romantic way.
Then she asked him herself to play Ryle in the movie, and things were great until Blake Lively, right?
Enter Justin Baldoni, Blake's co-star and the film's director. You'd think these two would be a dream team. Blake, with her star power and charisma, and Justin, with his heartthrob status and knack for heartfelt storytelling. But reports suggest their working relationship was less dream team and more who's in charge here.
And that what in fact happened was Justin didn't harass Blake. Blake was interested in wresting control of this movie away from Justin, who was the director and the producer. She was just an actress in it. And used threats and coercion and bullying to do it.
Blake's input on the film went beyond just delivering her lines. She reportedly had strong opinions about the script, the direction, and even the dynamics of other characters. While having a collaborative spirit is great, some insiders felt her involvement veered into the territory of, well, overstepping.
Blake Lively has proven, Ryan Reynolds has proven to be actually the smartest in the room and was likely manipulating her. And it is likely, this is my guess.
One source claimed that Blake's demands led to several script changes, which didn't always sit well with the rest of the cast. Imagine preparing for a role, only to have key scenes rewritten because one person thought it could be better. That's enough to make even the most patient actor's eye twitch.
I mean, it's wild, you know. I mean, not only Blake Lively. I mean, you're phenomenal, but also to be a young Lily.
I feel like that is a disservice too, because she's in the movie. She's not doing me. She's bringing herself.
And it wasn't just the cast feeling the strain. Crew members reportedly found themselves caught in the crossfire of Blake's alleged insistence on perfection. From lighting adjustments to last-minute wardrobe changes, her requests are said to have slowed production on more than one occasion. One crew member was even overheard describing the set as walking on eggshells, with everyone trying to avoid stepping on Blake's toes.
I'm just there to be the actor and ready to get the gig. I wouldn't reveal that I actually need to have authorship in order to feel fulfilled. So I think that for them, sometimes that might have felt like a rug pull because you're like, you're trying to assert yourself into something that we didn't hire you to do.
Of course, Blake's defenders argue that she's simply passionate about her work and wants the best outcome for the film. And hey, maybe that's true. But when whispers about controlling behavior start circulating, it's hard not to wonder if there's more to the story.
This is about that narrative that I think they instantly started spinning. I believe that they are going to be able to prove in court that this was personal.
The tension between Blake and Justin reportedly reached a peak during one particularly intense scene. According to insiders, disagreements over how the scene should play out led to a heated exchange, with Blake allegedly pushing for changes that Justin felt compromised the story. While the details remain murky, one thing is clear. The set of It Ends With Us was anything but harmonious.
At that point in the film, she had already began to exert control over so many aspects of production, not just rewriting the script, but she had also taken over wardrobe, causing the wardrobe budget to go over by hundreds of thousands of dollars.
What's especially ironic about all this is that the film's central theme is resilience and finding strength through adversity. Yet, if the rumors are to be believed, the production itself was a lesson in navigating conflict and power dynamics. Blake may have been the star, but her behind-the-scenes behavior has left many wondering if her bright light sometimes casts too long a shadow.
A lot of it's my real life clothes or my husband's clothes or my girlfriend Gigi's clothes. I was borrowing some.
Wait, that's kind of amazing. So you have something of Gigi's in the movie.
Yeah, like a wedding, like something old, something borrowed, something blue. So I'm wearing her stuff all over it.
Oh, really?
Tons of like Bodhi, which is with the suit now that I'm wearing is Bodhi. It was meant for my husband, but I borrowed it.
His suit?
It was meant for him to wear.
From Gossip Girl to It Ends With Us, it seems Blake Lively's career has been as dramatic off-screen as it has been on. While her talent and star power are undeniable, these stories raise questions about the cost of maintaining that Golden Girl image. As the saying goes, heavy is the head that wears the crown. Or, in this case, the tiara.
Well, they're best and worst friends, I guess. Yeah, they're two women that come together and they're sort of unlikely friends. And then they are each other's the worst thing that ever happened to each other, and then in some moments a really great thing that happened to each other. I wouldn't say the best necessarily.
Blake Lively and Anna Kendrick delivered the perfect mix of mystery, wit, and simmering tension on screen. Off screen, however, let's just say the simmering tension wasn't entirely fictional. During the press tour for the film, whispers of a less than friendly dynamic between the two stars began to swirl, and honestly, the tea was hotter than anything served in Emily Nelson's martini glass.
I feel like it's pretty rapid cognition for me.
Yeah, I think you know, but there's some people, like, I've had people who, like, I don't necessarily, like, we're not best buddies at all moments, but, like, do we do well together on screen? There's some people that, like, we're best buddies, and then on screen it's like... So
Blake Lively, known for her commanding presence and sharp wit, reportedly clashed with Anna Kendrick, whose charm lies in her laid-back, self-deprecating humor. It's like mixing oil and water. No matter how much you shake, they just don't blend. Insiders claim that Blake's penchant for taking control didn't sit well with Anna, who's more about keeping things chill and quirky. The result? A vibe so awkward you could cut it with a knife.
In real life, it's the other way around, and I constantly have to call Blake and be like, it's okay, you're good at giving interviews, I promise you, people like you, they respect you.
A lot of talking
Gotta
off the
give her a
ledge.
pep talk. I'm like, we're amazing, we're powerful.
Fans first noticed the tension during interviews and press events. While the two smiled and posed for the cameras, their interactions told a different story. Anna, never one to shy away from subtle jabs, made comments that some interpreted as digs at Blake. At one point, she joked about the difficulties of working with larger-than-life personalities in a way that felt a little too pointed to be random. The internet, being the internet, immediately jumped on it, dissecting every interaction for hidden shade.
Chuck has a matching pet monkey with coordinating outfits, and I was like, I would love to be part of the show, but I can't act with a monkey. And then I got a few of them.
Then there were the interviews where Blake, ever the polished professional, seemed to dominate the conversation. Anna, visibly less amused, would occasionally throw in a sarcastic quip or two, but the energy between them was palpable, and not in a good way. Fans couldn't help but notice that their supposed camaraderie seemed forced, like a group project where one person does all the talking while the other just wants to go home.
Like anyone else who would be going through a situation where you're accused of something that you did not do, and are suffering in a public way, I think it's distressful, to say the least.
The alleged feud didn't just stop at awkward interviews, though. Reports suggest that the tension spilled over into the film's promotion, overshadowing what should have been a celebration of their work. Instead of focusing on the movie's twists and turns, headlines were filled with speculation about what was going on behind the scenes. Because why settle for enjoying a movie when you can turn its stars into a full-blown drama?
wants me to compliment her, and she's like, I'm not below compliments. I'm like, it's clear that you're not, because she's always soliciting.
Oh, because you were just telling me about like weird expressions that she gets wrong, wouldn't it be, I'm not above compliments?
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right. Oh, she gets it all wrong. I never even thought about
Yeah.
it. She says it. Yes, she's not above compliments.
To be fair, neither Blake nor Anna has publicly addressed the rumors in any significant way. But actions speak louder than words, and their lack of joint appearances after the press tour only added fuel to the fire. Whether it was just a case of clashing personalities or something deeper, one thing is clear. The drama behind a simple favor may have been juicier than the plot itself.
But Blake Lively, it appears to me, completely lied about that critical scene in which she involved Taylor Swift and Ryan Reynolds, her dragon, she's Khaleesi, because she really wanted her vision to be included in this, okay?
Now, let's talk about Ryan Reynolds, Blake's partner in Hollywood power coupledom, and apparently her partner in controversy. On the surface, these two seem like the ultimate dream team. Effortlessly charming, drop-dead gorgeous, and always ready with a perfectly crafted Instagram post. But peel back the layers of their polished public image, and things start to look a little complicated.
I did a film with an absolute idiot of a co-star, and this human being was being so insecure and angry because this person couldn't get the scenes out.
Ryan Reynolds has a history of ruffling feathers in Hollywood, and it seems some of his behavior is starting to reflect poorly on Blake as well.
So no one had my back. And I remember the next day I walked on, and I said, "You get off my set." This is the first time I've ever spoken. I remember being so scared. And I looked at this person and I said, "You can F off. I'm going to work towards a tennis ball. I never want to see you again."
For starters, there's Ryan's reputation for on-set clashes. Remember Deadpool? Sure. The movie was a smash hit, but behind the scenes, it was less of a superhero flick and more of a battle royale.
I was so vulnerable and uncomfortable that I got screamed at, and I would cry walking off set. This person would literally look at me in front of the whole crew and say, "You call yourself an actor, this is what I have to work with. What is this?" And I stood there just breaking. This happens. But because this person was number one on a call sheet, there was no safety net for me.
Ryan's disagreements with director Tim Miller over creative control reportedly led to Miller walking away from the sequel altogether. And let's not forget TJ Miller, who accused Ryan of being kind of a diva and creating an uncomfortable working environment. Yikes.
Hard not to love the movie because you guys are so beautiful to watch that I was just like,
well, hello.
The parallels between Ryan's alleged behavior and the stories about Blake are hard to ignore. Both are accused of being overly controlling and prioritizing their vision above all else. It's like they've turned power couple into a verb, and not the good kind. Fans have started to wonder if their shared approach to their careers might be more about maintaining dominance than collaboration.
Ryan, again, as I said, seems very obvious to me that Ryan is the hand behind everything that is happening here. Justin Baldoni, he is playing a fake alpha when in fact he is a true beta.
Then there's the issue of their public persona. On social media, Blake and Ryan are known for their playful banter and picture-perfect posts. But as more allegations of toxicity have surfaced, that carefully curated image has started to crack. Fans are questioning whether their relationship is as idyllic as it seems, or if it's just another Hollywood mirage. The couple's failure to address these controversies head-on has only fueled speculation, with some accusing them of hiding behind their charm and wit to avoid accountability. Even their fan base appears to be divided. Some staunchly defend the couple, arguing that every star faced backlash at some point. Others, however, are less forgiving, pointing out that where there's smoke, there's usually fire. The cracks in their public image became even more evident when both Blake and Ryan started losing followers on social media, a clear sign that the tide of public opinion might be shifting.
OMG, you're not going to believe me, except yes, you will. So on the show today, for those of you guys that watched, I had said that looking at the SNL situation, it was my professional opinion that what we were watching was something that was concocted entirely by Ryan Reynolds because...
At the end of the day, Blake and Ryan's story is a reminder that even the most picture-perfect couples aren't immune to scrutiny. Behind the glossy magazine covers and viral tweets, there's a much messier reality, a reality that's becoming harder and harder to ignore. As the spotlight shifts from their charm to their controversies, one has to wonder, is this the beginning of the end for Hollywood's golden couple? Only time will tell.
She sees herself as Khaleesi from Game of Thrones, mother of dragons.
Let's talk about Hollywood's backroom drama, and no, we're not talking about scripts. This is about Blake Lively. Allegedly, Blake has been pulling some strings behind the scenes, and not everyone is thrilled about it. One story that keeps popping up? Her involvement in The Husband's Secret. This was supposed to be a big movie adaptation of a best-selling book, but things got messy.
You know, for the first time at the premiere, you find out that Blake Lively tells people that all of a sudden he wrote a scene in the movie.
According to reports, indie script writers were pushed out or had their work heavily edited without much credit. The claim? Blake might have had a say in those changes. Now, it's not unusual for stars to give feedback on scripts, but when writers start feeling erased, things get awkward.
Or is she just extremely high maintenance and someone who plays the victim when she doesn't get her way?
This isn't the first time Blake's been accused of stepping on smaller creators. Remember those allegations from fashion designers? They said she used fake names to get ideas, only to ghost them or claim the designs as her own. The pattern is starting to feel familiar. Whether it's in film or fashion, smaller voices seem to get drowned out.
Like it's Taylor Swift. He feels there's an implicit threat here. Like this is a dragon that can kill you. So be very careful. Here's my pet dragon.
And then there are whispers about how Blake uses her Hollywood connections to push her projects forward. Some people call it being smart, others think it's unfair. Either way, these stories are painting a different picture of Blake, one that's less about teamwork and more about winning at any cost.
They are being so wildly manipulative and dishonest as they have been since the beginning of this entire process that they are literally mining clips on the internet, taking them out of context so that they can produce a narrative that reads like a script to us.
If there's one thing social media loves, it's holding people accountable, and Blake Lively is feeling the heat. Recently, reports came out that both she and her husband Ryan Reynolds have been losing followers. Fans are upset, and they're not holding back. On Twitter, hashtags like #BlakeExposed are trending, with people calling her out for everything from copying small designers to pushing out indie writers. Instagram isn't much better. Comments on her posts have shifted from admiration to criticism. Fans are asking tough questions like, why aren't you addressing the allegations?
Because everyone in this room, because you're here, I know this about you, you've been gaslit to high heaven every time you've picked up a newspaper in the United States.
This backlash isn't just about one incident, it's a buildup. People feel like the stories of exploitation and manipulation don't line up with the image Blake has built over the years. She's always been seen as relatable and down to earth, but now, fans are starting to wonder if it was all an act. Some industry insiders are even joining the conversation. They're hinting at diva-like behavior and saying her project involvement has caused delays or tension. It's a far cry from the perfect Hollywood star image she once had. Like this video and subscribe to the channel to watch more videos on Blake Lively's dramatic life.